Oh, right, right. Well, I think that's what I did.
Oh, I did that.
Same. Thank you. Yeah.
It's pretty close. All right. Morning, Jeff.
Morning. But I don't know anything about Wills Point schools, the paperwork never came back, so I'm just gonna pay it.
Okay.
It's Tom back.
Morning, Brandon.
You know, David, or you, sir. Good. We all.
How y'all doing?
All right, it is 9 o'clock and we are ready to start our meeting. I'd ask you to stand. I've asked Adam Henderson of Radiant Church to open us in a word of prayer. All right.
All right, would you guys pray with me? Well, Lord Jesus, we just tell you that we love you this morning, Lord, even on this 23rd year since the time of 9/11. God, we pause and reflect. Lord Jesus, we remember those who laid down their lives to spare, to save, Lord Jesus, others. Your word declares that greater love has no man to lay down his life for his friend. So we say thank you, Lord Jesus, for those brave men and women, Lord, who did exactly that day. God, I ask that during this time that you be with us, Lord, that you lead us, you guide us by your Spirit. Lord, Psalms declares that the nation whose God is the Lord is a blessed nation. And so I thank you for that taking place here in this room, in this county, in our state, and in our nation today. So we say we just surrender to you. Bless this time, bless your people, be with us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Adam. Pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may have a seat. And I will please ask and remind you to please silence or turn off your cell phone. We do that. So I will call this meeting to order at 9:03. And we do have a quorum, all the commissioners and myself, present. Are there any general announcements? Not? All right, we'll move on to number 3. Are there any public comments? Susan, no public comments. Okay. Move on to item number 4, consent agenda. The consent agenda are considered routine by Commissioners Court, will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless a county judge or commissioner requests an item to be removed from the consent agenda considered separately. Is there any items that need to be considered separately? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Pearson.
Is there a second? Second. All right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 5, public hearing on the proposed tax rate for 2024. And at this time, I will open the meeting for public comments about the proposed tax rate. I would like to do a brief presentation because the proposed tax rate that was presented in the paper is not what we're proposing now. We made a change in the tax rate, and I will, it's over here. So this is what we proposed in, that was published in the paper. Okay, our current tax rate, which is what we're paying right, well, the county determined last year is 0.4058696. The no new revenue rate that was determined by the appraisal district is 0.40483340. The voter approved tax rate is 0.429020. And we had a special workshop in which we had the tax Linebarger come and explain to us how the voter approved rate was higher this year than the our current rate. And the reason being that, well, I'm not going to go into that right now. So we had proposed a tax rate of 0.429019, just below the voter approved tax rate, which has been historically what we have done. Okay. So the new property tax, the value of revenue that would have been generated from new property is 928,718. Other revenue would be 704 39339, and the total would have been 1,633,057. That was what we proposed. However, I got to get down lower. Take it back over here. That has when we had our budget workshop on Thursday of last week, the commissioners court decided or agreed to modify what the new proposed tax rate is going to be. And that is we decided to keep our tax rate at what it is right now. So all these numbers, these top three numbers all remain the same, but you'll see that the proposed rate for next year is the same rate as our current rate right now, which is 0.405896. And that changes the amount, the new property value that we would get would be 878,603. Other properties, 47,843. And so that the total is 926,446 as new revenue generated for 2025. That is a decrease of roughly $700,000 from our original proposal. So that is what we are coming before you today. And so now I will open it up to comments or of anybody that would like to make comments on the public hearing about the proposed tax rate. Yes, David.
I would,
Okay.
you start off with numbers, so we'll just talk numbers.
Okay.
I went back from 2019 all the way up to now and saw two things. First off, since 2019 and 2020, y'all dropped the tax rate 6.5%, 6.57%. 2021, you dropped it 11.86%. 2022, you dropped it 19.80%. In 2023, you dropped it 10.75%. This year, you're now saying it's going to be zero. It'll stay the same as before. So the taxpayers looking at that looks like a pretty good deal. But as we all know, our property values have gone way up. And so I went back and looked at how much money the county had left over each year. And in 2019, you had $2.5 million, and I'm talking about your general fund and your reserve fund. But then in 2020, it went up to 4.4 million, or almost 80%. In 2021, it went up to 8.5 million. 2022, it went up to 10.1 million. having one eye is difficult. But 2023 went to 12.1 million. And then the estimate you show at the end of this year, you're going to get to 12.4 million. And I'll say, if y'all were a business, I would say congratulations, you're very profitable. The problem is being government, you're not supposed to be making it. So when I see us go from 2.5 million to 12.4 million, I'm going, y'all are holding on to an awful lot of our tax dollars that expect to be in the first place. So I know that it's real good to say, hey, we're gonna keep the tax rate the same as it was last year. But as y'all said in your workshop, the property values this time around have gone up 7%, so you're still gonna get more. And so what I'd like to see is if you drop it more and start bleeding off more of that money. And I'm aware in your budget that you're trying to bleed off some of it, but you're holding on to a lot of our tax dollars. So I'd like to see the number lower. Bleed that back down, give us a break. Which some of y'all recognize that we really just over a barrel of taxes in general. But cut us a break and then do a couple things. If you give us a tax break, a decent sized tax break, you're gonna have to come back to us for bond packages. For the jail, for this building, you might actually get a chance to get one of those bond packages passed. And get a tax dollars. So I would ask you to consider that. Before y'all approve either your budget or approve it via tax rate.
Okay. The current budget, we have budgeted, to go $2 million into the, general fund in the next year.
Which will get you down to 10 million. That's better,
Right.
but you're still holding on to a lot of tax dollars.
Right.
It should be enough.
And some of that, okay. All right. Are there any other public comments? All right, if not, I will close the public hearing at 9:11. And we will move to item number 6, discuss and consider adopting the Van Zandt County budget for fiscal year 2025, beginning October 1st, 2024. And ending September 30th, 2025. So is there a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2025?
I'll motion.
All right, there's a motion by Commissioner Barton. Is there a second?
Second, Williams.
All right, is there any discussion?
Judge, you have the proper wording, but the binder that has to be talked about. That has to be about.
All right, the
It has
proper,
to be, the language has to be. The motion has to be made for that one.
all right. So what do I do with the motion on the floor? Do I modify it?
That is, there has to be a certain language and it has to be, and you have to do the record vote about the vote. You have that in your binder.
I think if Commissioner Barton clarified his motion and just saying I move, if he actually read what was said here, I think that would cover it and he could second it.
Okay. Where in the binder is it? What page number?
It's right under the agenda item. The motion should read, I move that the proposed Van Zandt County budget for the fiscal year 2025 be adopted. And folks, this goes back to state government code. The legislature outlined that on these items, and I'm saying the tax rate, you have to word it specifically as such. That's why we're having this discussion.
So this is what the motion should state, correct? All right,
So I need to say, I motion that I move that the proposed Van Zandt County budget for the fiscal year 2025 be adopted.
okay, that is your motion. And is there a second?
I renew the second.
Okay. Now, any further discussion now that we've got that corrected? If not, all those, oh, I gotta ask individually, correct? All right. So Commissioner LaPrade, what is your vote?
Yay.
Commissioner
In
Williams?
I'm in favor. Yes.
Commissioner Pearson?
Aye.
Commissioner Barton? And I am in favor of it too, so it's unanimous. We have now, have we done everything to adopt the budget for our next year? Very good. All right, next we will item number 8, discuss and consider ratifying the property tax increase reflected on the fiscal year 2025 budget. Is there specific language we need to use on that? This is the tax rate we just discussed about, and that is keeping our tax rate at the current rate.
I think the difficulty I'm seeing here is it says consider ratifying the property tax increase rather than, consider ratifying a property tax that is the same as, it's the same rate as the last.
Well, we're on 7. You skipped 7.
So
You got to adopt a rate first. We need to
Okay.
be on number 7.
All right. Number 7. Discuss and consider adopting a 2024 tax rate for Van Zandt County and the order setting the tax rate. And there's the motion up there on the screen that we need to have. I will need to close this so that you can see the whole motion. All right. Is there a motion or does someone want to make that motion?
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.405866960, which is effectively a 0.26% increase in the tax rate. This rate includes 0.00 for debt services.
Okay.
Second, Pearson.
Motion is made second. Do we need a voice vote on this one too?
Needed.
All right. Any discussion?
Thank you. David, I agree with you 100%. And just let me give you my reasoning on it is, we've got to do it slowly. If we jump out there and do too much and we make a mistake, if things hold true, this $2 million that we're going into it this year, we should go into it next year, lower it by another $2 million. Yes, sir. It needs to get back. Our professional auditors or outside auditors say we need $6 million in the bank. Any government entity this size should have $6 million in the bank. And so that's what I personally would like to get back to, closer to $6 million in there. But I'm a little leery. I don't want to jump too far and then come back and say, hey, I messed up. Now I lowered this too much and I've got to turn around and raise it back up on you too fast. So that's, if you want my reasoning behind my madness, there you got it.
And I'll agree with Keith, David. And also we got to remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, the former commissioner's court did that. And we almost went bankrupt because we lowered it too much and we got in trouble. We did not get what we thought we were going to get. And this county was in financial trouble because of that reason. And like he said, we have to have 6 million in there and we're at 10, and you talked about a jail or bond, and some of that money can go to that to offset a bond if we choose. We haven't looked at any of that, but that could go there too.
I agree in moderation. I'd just like to see it keep going there.
Yes.
I agree. And that's why I come back in at workshop and start talking to the guys about, hey, let's just leave it where it's at. Let's not raise it. And honestly, we're closer to no new revenue rate than we've ever set a tax rate before. The no new revenue rate is 0.404. And we're setting this at 0.405. It's only roughly 0.25% increase, which usually we do about a 3% increase. So we've got as close to no new revenue as we can. We've budgeted into that general fund to help lower it. We're doing the best we can to make it as best on the people as we can, but yet do it in a conservative, moderate way that we don't get the county in trouble.
Because just like over this last year, there was pretty substantial increases in the cost for the materials that we put out into the marketplace as well, the things that we have to buy in order to satisfy those folks that call us and say, hey, my roads, my bridges, they're they're running into this problem or that problem. And when a storm hits, like happened in the, in the spring and summer of this year, and we have these huge washouts, we can't go back to you and say, hey, we need some more money because we had all these culverts on 47 blowout. We have to work with what we have. And so we do have to try to use a crystal ball and look into the future. So we are considerate of that as well.
And this rate is gonna lower the amount of revenue that Road and Bridge gets. Not a great lot, it probably cost each precinct 60,000, somewhere in there. And, so that'd be $60,000 worth of work we can't do on roads, but it's still, we need to get back and lower that down some, help all we can.
But y'all have reserve in each precinct.
Sir?
Y'all have reserves in each precinct already, right?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right, is there any further discussion? If not, I will ask each commissioner what their vote is. Commissioner Brad,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Pearson,
Uh,
Commissioner Martin, and I vote aye also. All right, so we have now adopted the 2024 tax rate for Van Zandt County. Item number 8, discuss, consider ratifying the property tax increase reflected in the 2025 budget.
I attached the language in the code. Local government code 111.008. Section C that requires you to ratify the property tax.
All right. Oh, is there a motion? Does somebody like to make the motion that's on the screen?
I'll make a motion to move that the property tax increase reflected in the Van Zandt County budget for fiscal year 2025 be ratified.
Okay. Is there a second?
second, Pearson.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor say, oh wait, we gotta. No, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item number 9, discuss, consider the approval of the 2025 budget policy. Oh, that is basically guidelines and procedures in which we handle the budget in the future.
So move, Pearson.
All right, motion made.
Second.
All right, motion made second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor,
Who second?
Commissioner Pratt. All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item number 10, accept the financial statement for Emergency Service District Number 2 for a matter of record to be entered in the Commissioners Court minutes for year end September 30th, 2022 and September 30th, 2023.
so move, Pearson.
All right, motion. Commissioner Pratt, did you second?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 11, discuss, consider, and approve awarding a contract for disaster debris recovery consulting services. We put an RFP out for consulting services to help us put together a debris pickup for the county. And the objective was to have a consulting company come up with the bids and the language it needed to do. We only had one respondent to the bid or the RFP request, and they did not actually give us a number. They just quoted hourly rates. And that is not something we can move forward with because we really don't have the necessary information in which to make an informed decision. So do we need to consider, how do we need to reword this, Sandy? Just, we're not gonna make an award. Okay. So is there a motion to not make an award for the disaster debris recovery consulting services?
I'll motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second, here's,
All right, any further discussion? That RFP was sent to you by email. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign, motion passes. All right, item number 12, discuss, consider issuing a request for proposal for debris removal. This is a result of not getting, of not having an adequate consulting service. So we will need to go out for on our own for an RFP for debris removal. And we have several of those RFPs from adjoining counties or other counties that have done the same thing, which we can modify to our needs and send out. So is there a motion for us to go out for a RFP for debris removal?
I got a question. Are we gonna do it countywide or are we gonna do it by precinct?
Well, we can the intent is to do it countywide. It would probably be a better proposal, more cost effective for the RFPs that come in if there's a wider range or a wider area that they're going to be covering.
Well, there's two reasons why I'm asking. One, we're supposed to have this stuff up by November 6th, I believe. And two, the county's large. You're gonna have a hard time. It'd be hard for local vendors of this type of stuff to bid a countywide project. But it might be easier for them to bid a precinct. And it might be more effective if we get 4 people in each precinct running versus one company trying to do it countywide. And it might be more beneficial and effective toward local businesses to bid for.
Okay. The TxDOT vendor who's doing is doing 8 counties. So I don't know. And then to address the deadline, I have a letter drafted that'll be on our next commissioner court meeting requesting an extension, a 6-month extension from the deadline. It's November 17th, in which we're supposed to have everything done. I'm requesting a 6-month extension on that, so that should give us more time. With our intent is to try to get it done before the end of the fiscal year, end of the calendar year. I'm sorry, end of the calendar year. So that, let's do that. But we can put an option in there if somebody has bid on a particular precinct.
I mean, a large vendor could get all 4 and come in cheaper if they wanted to.
Right.
At least by doing it by precinct, we give our local businesses more of an opportunity to bid on.
I agree with that.
Okay.
You have to remember, if you're gonna be going for FEMA, that those local vendors are gonna have to be registered for SAMs to grant into that program. So.
That'll be listed in the RFP, won't it?
Yes.
It'll be in the RFP, correct? So they'll know they have to do that.
Yes. The RFP, in order to meet FEMA requirements on this RFP, the debris removal site will have to be selected. The site will have to have water, it'll have to have electricity, it'll have to have security. It'll have to have a tower for monitoring. And there's a lot of requirements in there, but it's all in RFP. And it's the same, very similar RFP to I think Trinity County and Coffin County. So, but yeah, all those requirements are in there. We'll just have to modify it to give them an option to bid by precinct. Do that.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion to go out for proposed RFPs for debris removal?
I'll motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Under what Shadow was talking about.
By precinct,
By precinct.
precinct.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 13, discuss, consider approval of an annual license purchase for drone sense for the sheriff's office. This is a license, the sheriff's office has, acquired a drone to use for law enforcement, and we were able to acquire that through funds, from the SB 22 grant. And, that drone has an annual license for the software. And that's what this, agenda item is, to approve that license. And I believe that the dollar amounts in the agenda. So is there a motion?
How much is that dollar amount? I can't get to it.
We're getting there. It's not a whole lot.
1,700.
1,700.
So move, Pearson.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 14. Appoint a committee to prepare a draft proposed process and form to address subdivision guideline exemptions. This was part of our workshop discussions on Thursday of last week. And I believe we wanted, and I don't remember who we suggested to be on that committee.
I believe it was Dennis, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Pearson.
Okay. Those are the three that are gonna be on there.
So move, Pearson.
Second.
All right. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 15, discuss and consider interlocal purchasing agreement with Wills Point ISD.
Gentlemen, I put that on there, but I'll ask the table. I don't have the documentation back in yet.
All right.
Second, Pearson.
All right. Motion is made to table and second. Is there all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number, or tabling passes. Item number 16, discuss and consider accepting donations from Rob and Karen Martin for $2,000, Thomas E. Paulus for $1,000, Dylan J. Berrigan for $1,000, and Berrigan Property for $1,000 in the sum amount totaling $5,000 for work on Van Zandt County Road 3412 located in precinct 3.
Yes, sir. This is a half-mile section of County Road 3412. And we did some work on that road, and the folks that live on it wanted to make a donation. It's a post donation. It was after the work was done. And I make a motion, we accept these donations and it be moved to precinct 3 Road and Bridge.
I'll second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would just like to say thank you. That's the way we get a few extra things done. People stepping up. David, like I say, we do seem like we overtax, but then some people come back and say, here, let me give you more. I want to help. I want this road better than it is. So I'd like to say thank you to all listed.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 17, discuss and consider a letter of exemption for properties located in Van Zandt County Road 1927 in precinct 1.
Yes, Jim, we discussed this in the workshop the other day and went through it with Ms. Tana. I think she speak about it.
There are two individuals, one of which who was at that workshop last week, who has presented to me the requisite information to indicate that they not only bought their property, but filed their deeds and filed their surveys before the increase in the subdivision guidelines. They each have slightly more than 5 acres. And therefore, because it was timely filed, would be exempt from the new subdivision guidelines. They are in need of a letter for South Tawakoni water supply. I'd be happy to draft that letter for those two. I have received an inquiry from a third, but he has not yet provided me the documents. I just need court approval, court direction before I draft the letter and present it to the judge for signing.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded to draft a letter of exemption properties located in Van Zandt County Road 1927. Is there any further discussion?
I like the way Tonda clarified it, but I just want to echo there that this is, we're not really giving the exemption. These properties were bought prior to our new subdivision guidelines going into effect. And so the South Walkeny Water, which I wish all utilities did, they will not serve you water until they get something from the county showing that it's gone through the county and is approved that subdivision of land. So that's all we're doing is writing a letter to South Walkeny to say these two pieces of land were bought prior to our new subdivision guidelines.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 18, discuss, consider approval of a family cemetery at Van Zandt County Road 3607 in precinct 3.
Yes, sir. These folks have been working with Keegan pretty hard on this. We've got a little checklist on this. If you want to put a cemetery on your property, it's got to come through the commissioner's court for approval. And we've got a checklist, and they've fulfilled all their obligations, and so it's ready to file now. So I'll make a motion, we approve this for filing.
Second.
All right, motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 19, discuss and consider request for a one-time exemption and variance from plating requirements for Jim Briggs on 9.55 acres located in Van Zandt County Road 3414.
Okay, yes, sir. And let me explain, we've, when we had our workshop, we formed this committee that we talked about a while ago. There's a lot of things in these one-time exemptions that we hadn't got worked out yet. And so, but the Briggs here, I'd already talked to before we had that workshop and told them that they'd be on the agenda today. They're a little bit of an exception in our previous guidelines. We wouldn't have called this an exemption. We would call it a variance from plating because it's existing houses. They own a piece of property that has two houses on it, two separate on-site sewer systems, two water meters, two electric meters, everything's separate. At one time, it was the main house in a mother-in-law house or whatever you would want to call it. And their daughter has left Van Zandt County, and so they're going to relocate out to Weatherford, and they're selling these two houses separately instead of selling them together. So I make a motion, we allow them to sell this one house, I think it's a little over 2.75 acres or something. I can't remember, Keegan, but there's way more than an acre. Everything that serves that house, that supports that house, is on that acreage, and they'll sell it by meets and bounds, and then they'll sell their other house as they get a buyer for. So I make a motion, we allow that to happen.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 20, discuss and consider request for one-time exemption from plating requirements for Brian Allen on 1.11 acres located Van Zandt County Road 4106.
This is mine. Mr. Allen has around 31 acres of land, and he's wanting to sell 1.11 acres of it to another individual. And they were asking for the one-time exemption on the selling of the 1.11. And I'll make a motion to give the one-time exemption on the 1.11 acres.
All right, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second, Pearson.
All right, any further discussion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to, this is another deal. All of these should go on hold now until we get our committee together and figure out how we're gonna do this. This is another one that came in to mine and Brandon's office and talked to him and myself about this. Dennis and I have a little conflict of information. We don't disagree with each other, But the way this was proposed to us, it's already 2 tracts of land. All they're doing is making this tract of land right here a little bit bigger. They're not technically subdividing any land, any more land. They're making 1 tract bigger and 1 tract smaller, but they're not making more tracts. So I'm not sure it needs to come to us for this anyway, but it came to us before we set up our committee. As far as the way I feel now, anything that comes from this one-time exemption, I'm gonna have to say, hey, time out. We've got to get some guidelines on how we're gonna do this. This thing has been flogging all 4 of us on people coming out of the woodwork, wanting to sell a piece of land and not go through the plating requirements. So that's why this one is on the agenda for today.
And this is one of the reasons the committee got established, because there was some confusion about it. And we get it all straight. We're like, we need to get this stuff straight. So this did come to us about 3 weeks ago before we talked about the committee.
All right, so there is motion. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 21, discuss, consider replat of lot 5A, 5B, 6A, 6B, block 3 of Kangaroo Estates located in Benson County Road 4207 in precinct 4.
This is mine also. This gentleman has fulfilled all his requirements. He sent the certified letters to his neighbors. And I guess by law, we have to have a public hearing on this within 45 days or in 45 days to let the neighbors around this area come in and speak if they'd like. So I'm asking for to approve that he's fulfilled all his requirements. Also on October 23rd, we have a public hearing on the replats.
So this is Brandon's first replat. And when you create more lots by state statute, it has to be posted on a website for a 30-day minimum. And so to meet that, we're gonna meet in 28 days. And so it's and we have to come in here today and post a date that we're going to discuss this in the future. We're not really going to discuss it today. We're just going to set a future date. So Brandon's making a motion that we discuss that we'll be discussing this replat on October the 23rd. And I second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, item number 22. We will Commissioners Court will now go into closed executive session in compliance with section 551-074 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reappointment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or number 2, to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. And second, closed executive session in compliance with section 551.0725, the state government code, to conduct a closed meeting to deliberate business and financial issues related to a contract being negotiated. So we will now go into executive session as of 9:43.
I'd like to thank all y'all for coming to the public hearing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you much. That ends our regular meeting. All right. Good to see you. Okay.